Here are 7 queer sci-fi or fantasy book recommendations for your TBR. I did do a full video on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out, but the first recommendation is Gideon the Ninth. This is basically about lesbian necromancers in space. What's not to love? One of which is really buff and very good with a sword, and the other one is absolutely fucking crazy, trying to solve a murder. It is so good, oddly funny, and very queer. Next is The Darkness Outside Us. Do not be fooled by this cover, which is giving very cutesy gay rom-com. This book is absolutely fucking twisted in the way that it made me so paranoid. The way that Elliot Schreffer is able to capture the loneliness of deep space between the pages of this book is absolutely breathtaking. It made me have like an existential crisis, honestly. Next is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. This is an adult cozy fantasy that is set in a zoo filled with magical animals. It is marketed as an adult fantasy, however, I do think it reads a little bit more young adult. There's not much happening in this book besides the love story and the zoo, but honestly, it's kind of a good reminder that not every fantasy needs to be extremely high stakes. Sometimes it can be about a bitch that loves birds. Next, I have Yield Under Great Persuasion. This is basically about 2 men that have been in a decade-long situationship. It is kind of sad at times, but in that bittersweet, like heartbreaking and then piece it back together kind of way. Next, I have Black Sun. This is about colonialism, colonization, and surviving in a civilization that would exploit you and eradicate you in the same breath. Next, I have Priory of the Orange Tree. You have probably seen this one on your recommendation list already. It is an absolute unit sitting at like 700 pages. The best way I've seen it described online is like lesbian Game of Thrones. What else do you have to know? But do not get it twisted and don't go into this expecting spice, because it is definitely an epic fantasy with a very complex world building, political intrigue, and you will be using the glossary at the end of the book. Last on my list is Malice. This is a sapphic retelling of the story of Sleeping Beauty, where Sleeping Beauty falls in love with the evil sorceress that cursed her bloodline generations ago. I have a soft spot in my heart for retellings. This was a debut novel and it is young adult fantasy, so the writing and the world building is not like revolutionary, but I do really love this dark, more modern take on a classic tale like Sleeping Beauty.